Hello, my dear friends. You're in the RFR News channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the Russia-Ukraine war. We have a lot of very interesting updates today about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, significant number of details, geolocations, and so on from the Ukraine battlefield update. So let's start with this Ukraine war situation report. Now let's discuss Ukrainian city that was attacked by Russian forces in this Russia-Ukraine news today. On the 15th of November 2025, the city of Balaklia in Kharkiv direction was hit by 2 rocket strikes targeting its center, according to the local military administration. So this is attack on city center with Russian missile strikes. The attacks resulted in the deaths of 3 civilians and caused injuries to 10 others, among whom 9 were hospitalized. Tragically, the injured included 3 children, so we see civilian casualties including children, which is very tragic. The strikes damaged residential buildings and urban infrastructure, adding to the humanitarian toll in the war-affected region, so significant damage to civilian infrastructure from Russian airstrikes in Ukraine. Balaklia has seen repeated strikes in recent months, often attributed to Russian forces targeting civilian and strategic areas. Earlier missile attacks, notably one on the 1st of October 2025, killed 1 person and injured others, including a young child, with significant destruction to homes and businesses, so this is not first attack on this city. The military administration and emergency services are actively responding by providing aid and medical support to the affected population. These events have prompted the opening of war crime investigations under Ukrainian law regarding attacks on civilian areas. The situation in Balaklia highlights the ongoing threat to civilians living in frontline and contested areas of eastern Ukraine amid continued hostilities and missile barrage campaigns. Now let's discuss the situation in Rodinsky, because Rodinsky in the Donetsk region remains a contested area with ongoing fighting involving both Ukrainian and Russian forces, particularly in the BK Shakhtar district, so this is very active area on the Ukraine front line. Ukrainian military sources reported having cleared parts of Rodinsky, but geolocated footage confirms that Russian and Ukrainian forces both recently made advances in the southern and eastern parts of the town, so we see that both sides are making claims about progress. The fighting encompasses street-to-street combat and attempts by Russian troops to gain and hold territory. Rodinsky is strategically significant due to its location near Pokrovsk and its role in maintaining supply routes and ground lines of communication for Ukrainian forces. So this is important settlement from logistics perspective. Russian elements, including units from the 51st Combined Arms Army, have been actively operating in the area, while Ukrainian brigades counterattack to prevent further Russian advances, so there are very heavy clashes in this area. And we have additional update about Myrnovrad, because the Ukrainian Defense Forces have abandoned a significant portion of territory south of Myrnovrad, with the southern part of the city and the settlement of Suky Yar being virtually completely evacuated, so this is confirmation of withdrawal we discussed earlier. This development reflects the heavy pressure Ukrainian units face amid ongoing Russian offensives aimed at encircling and collapsing defenders in the Pokrovsk-Myrnovrad area, so Ukrainians are under very heavy pressure. Russian military sources and open-source intelligence monitored in mid-November 2025 confirmed the fall of Suky Yar, which acts as a gateway for forces advancing from the south, so this settlement is very important for Russian advance. Ukrainian command priorities have shifted toward organized withdrawals to avoid encirclement and to preserve forces for future defensive actions, so Ukrainians are trying to save their forces rather than fight to the last man. Now let's talk about very interesting tactical innovation from Russian side in this Ukraine war expert breakdown. The Sever-V Brigade has been actively engaged in operations against Ukrainian armed forces, UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, operators near Chazov Yar, so this is about drone warfare. During fighting north of Chazov Yar, the brigade's aerial reconnaissance identified a Ukrainian field command post located in a bunker. The enemy had also installed a camouflage generator in a nearby destroyed building, which powered the bunker, so this is well-prepared Ukrainian position. The thing is that due to the presence of an advanced electronic warfare (EW) system around the bunker, conventional FPV, first-person view, drones face significant difficulties attacking the position, so Ukrainian electronic warfare was protecting this position. To overcome this, Sever-V operators deployed innovative tactics, launching their first strikes using airdrop drones and fiber-optic drones. These fiber-optic drones targeted and destroyed the generator, disrupting the EW system that protected the Ukrainian position. So first they destroyed power source for electronic warfare system. With power cut to the EW system, conventional FPV drones were then able to safely complete the destruction of the command post. So this is very interesting tactic. Something like this. The use of fiber optic drones, which are resistant to electronic interference and can operate over longer distances while maintaining a stable link via fiber cables, represents a new tactic enhancing Russian UAV effectiveness in contested zones, so these drones can't be jammed by electronic warfare. Now let's talk about specific Ukrainian brigade in this Ukrainian Armed Forces update, because the 93rd Separate Mechanized Brigade Kholodny Yar is a highly respected unit within the Ukrainian armed forces, known for its resilience and combat experience, so this is one of the best Ukrainian brigades. Formed in 1992, the brigade has been involved in many significant battles during the Russo-Ukrainian conflict, including defending Donetsk Airport, Bakhmut, Ilovaisk, and Debaltsev, so they have very significant combat experience. In the Donetsk region near Kostiantynivka, the 93rd Brigade Kholodny Yar has been actively engaged in heavy fighting. Ukrainian forces, including this brigade, have successfully repelled multiple Russian mechanized assaults, so they're doing a good job defending their positions. Recent engagements involved thwarting Russian attempts to break into Kostiantynivka, where the brigade used reconnaissance and accurate fire to inflict heavy losses on the attacking forces. The unit showed operational flexibility by adapting to conditions such as fog, using it against enemy advances, so they're using fog not just for retreat, but also for defense. And we have additional details about fighting in Pokrovsk in this geopolitical analysis Ukraine update. The ongoing battle for Pokrovsk in Donetsk region has seen intense fighting, particularly in the micro-district Shakhtarsky, so this is a specific area where main clashes are taking place. Russian forces have been pushing into the city with infiltration tactics and infantry advances. By mid-November 2025, around 300 Russian troops were reported to be inside Pokrovsk, exerting heavy pressure on the Ukrainian defenders, so we're talking about 300 Russian soldiers inside the city. Footage from November 24 and 26 shows clashes in microdistrict Shakhtarsky, with Russian troops reportedly gaining ground, so we have video confirmations of Russian progress. Ukrainian military analysts note fierce street-to-street combat, as Russian units try to consolidate positions gained through drone and ground attacks. The situation in Pokrovsk remains critical, with the city nearing encirclement as Russian forces cut off escape and supply routes, so once again the situation is very critical for Ukrainian forces. Despite the pressure, Ukrainian forces are still holding parts of Pokrovsk, fighting desperately to prevent a full Russian takeover, so there is still resistance. Ukrainians are still fighting. The city's fall would be a significant loss for Ukraine, as Pokrovsk serves as a key logistics and command hub in the Donetsk region conflict. Now let's talk about humanitarian situation. Because the LDPR, Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, has recently sent another humanitarian aid shipment to residents near the border affected by ongoing conflicts and attacks in the Belgorod region. So we see humanitarian efforts from Russian side. This shipment was organized in cooperation with the Pobeda Foundation and the Second Life Foundation, comprising 20 tons of essential supplies, including furniture, mattresses, household chemicals, and food items. So we're talking about 20 tons of humanitarian aid. These provisions aim to help displaced families resettle and stabilize their living conditions. So this is for people who were displaced from border areas, something like this. LDPR leader Leonid Slutsky emphasized that humanitarian aid should be systemic and ongoing rather than a one-time effort, reflecting the party's commitment to continued support for border residents enduring harsh circumstances due to the conflict. So this is not just one delivery, this is ongoing program. This coherent aid policy aligns with the LDPR's broader strategy of supporting Russian citizens directly affected by the war, particularly those forced to relocate from the border territories. Alongside this, there are ongoing tensions and attacks in the Belgorod region, with Russian authorities reporting continued border security challenges, including damage caused by strikes attributed to Ukrainian forces. The humanitarian convoys and aid initiatives from LDPR aim to address the immediate needs arising from these security issues and population displacements.